Hi, it's Ms. Richmond. Yesterday we talked a little bit about functions and what they are. Today we're going to talk more about functions as graphs. This is chapter 1.8 in your textbook. First of all, yesterday, remember we said a function is a relation or a pairing so that each element of the domain, or the x's, is paired with exactly one element of the range, the y's. So to give a quick example, if I have, this isn't very straight, but if I have x and y, if x is 0, y is 1, x is 2, maybe y is 7, but then I put in 2 again for x, and I get out a different value this time for y. And maybe I put in 2 again to see what's going on, and I get yet another value for y, and then a 3, and maybe 8 again. Okay, this is not a function. The reason it's not a function is because for x equals 2, there are actually more than one, and in this case there are 3, but the important thing is that there is more than one value of y. So for this element of the domain, 2, I have different values of y, more than one. As opposed to if I look at a different relation, so here's another pairing, here's my x, here's my y. Maybe this time I have start out the same way, 0 for x, 1 for y. And now I put in 2, and this time I still get 1 for y. I put in 3, I get 8. I put in 4, maybe I get 9. And maybe I put in 5, and I get 1 again. This time, for every value of x, there's only one value of y. If you give me an x, I can tell you exactly what the y is. This is a function. Function is sometimes abbreviated just FCN. So up here, notice that for this value of x, 2, there's actually 3 different values of y. So it is not a function. Not a function. Okay, this one is a function. For every x, there's exactly one y. All right, let's look at how functions relate to graphs. So if I take a graph, and maybe I have a relation, I can't say if it's a function or not until I know what the pairings are. So I'll call it a relation. Say y equals 2x. Okay, so let's put in some values for x. You guys know how to graph something like this, I'm sure. You make what's sometimes called a t-chart. And you put in some values of x, find your values of y, and plot them on your graph. So if x is 0, y would be 2 times 0, 2 times 0, which is still 0. So I would plot the point 0, 0 right there. If x is 1, y would be 2 times 1, which is 2. So when x is 1, y is 2. If x is negative 1, y would be 2 times negative 1, which gives me negative 2. So when x is negative 1, y is negative 2. Okay, and we can start to see that for y equals 2x, I'm going to get basically this line, and I'm not very good right now at drawing the line. but this should be a straight line. Okay, and so my domain is going to be all my values of x, and my range is going to be all my values of y.